Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Today's video is going to be the first video in my year-end series. I'm calling this series Recap 2021. I'm going to share my thoughts on all the products which I've purchased this year. Starting off with my base makeup products which I've purchased this year. I'm going to share my thoughts on the primer, the foundation, what all worked for me, which all products are my favorites, and things like that. So if you guys are interested in knowing about the products I have purchased this year in the base makeup category, then please do continue watching. Okay guys, let's get started. So I think this has been a pretty interesting year. I haven't really purchased a lot of things, but yet somehow I ended up buying a lot of things, particularly in eyeshadow palettes department. So that will be a separate video. Today I'm going to share with you all the primer, foundation, concealer, powder which I have purchased this year. So let's start off with primer. This year I have purchased just 2 primers, and I think I used up most of the primers which I had from earlier. Fenty Beauty hydrating primer, the Benefit Professional I'm still using, so those are like my current favorite primers. So I didn't really feel the need to buy more primers, but yet towards the end of the year when I was running out of my primers, I did purchase 2. First one is the Rare Beauty primer. This is called the Pure Pore Diffusing Primer, and this is the smaller pack I got. I just wanted to try this primer. I have tried some Rare Beauty products this year since it launched recently here in Sephora, so that's why I thought of going for this primer. This one is actually blurring sort of a primer, but without it being too like very dimethicone and silicone. It doesn't feel very slippery, slidey on the face. It is nice and like moisturizer like, but still it has a little bit of pore minimizing effect. So I did really like this primer, and I will definitely consider buying a full size of it. It gives a hydrated feeling to the face without the face feeling too moisturized, too greasy. Provides a nice base for the foundation, gives a little bit of that pore minimizing effect, and it's not greasy. It's very nice, lightweight. I really liked it. It has a slight bit of a scent as well. If you are someone who doesn't like fragrances, this one does have a little bit of fragrance. I personally don't mind fragrances. So that's the first primer which I purchased this year. And second one which I purchased is the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. This is a very old oldie but a goodie primer. I didn't have this for the longest time, and this year I thought of repurchasing this. The packaging is very cute. I am not sure if they have changed anything about the formulation. I have used it and it still feels the same. It's a very nice hydrating primer. This one also is the smaller size. I don't know, I just wanted to get smaller sizes this time because I'm not wearing as much makeup these days, so a smaller size would do. This one does have coconut in it. It has coconut water, probiotic based ingredients, and skin revivers. This is more of a hydrating moisturizer like primer, and yet somehow it has a very nice finish to the skin, and the foundation goes on very well on this. So I used to love this primer so much. So these are the 2 primers which I purchased this year, and I think I'm all good for the next 6 months. I might purchase the Fenty Beauty primer because I miss it a little bit. I am almost out of it. Okay, for foundation also, I didn't really purchase too much foundation. I wasn't really wearing too much makeup. I am more into that wear concealer, apply powder kind of makeup look these days. And even today also, I haven't really worn a lot of foundation, although I have worn a very high coverage foundation, but my makeup still looks pretty natural. So that is the kind of makeup I go for usually, I think, since last year. So this year I thought, okay, let's not buy too much foundations. I bought 3, but one something totally out of the blue foundation which I purchased is this one from Huda Beauty. This is the 4 Filter Luminous Matte Foundation. I didn't really need to purchase this, but somehow I ended up buying this, and I thought let me give it a try. I really like the Huda Beauty stick foundation from last year. It is one of my favorite things which I have used last year. Very lightweight, gives a nice natural finish on the skin, and this one says it's a luminous matte, so I was pretty curious and I wanted to try this. This is the foundation which I have on my face today. It says it's a luminous matte, but I would say it's more of a natural matte foundation. It doesn't give any sort of like glowy feel to it, and it wears pretty nicely. I had got the shade Toffee. I quite like it. I haven't worn it a ton this year, but I quite like it. It's not one of my favorites though, because it is still on the more natural matte side. I would say it does dry down matte on the skin, and it's not super lightweight. It's not heavy, but it's not super lightweight. I like a little bit more lightweight foundations. I think for events this is a good foundation. It has a nice coverage. I wouldn't say it has a full coverage though. It is more of a medium to full coverage. This is how the bottle looks like. The Huda Beauty 4 Filter Luminous Matte Foundation. I did have a full video on this, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Yes, I think I have done a full review video on this. So if you're interested to hear my full thoughts on this foundation, you can check out that video. The problem with this foundation is that I do get a little bit of patchiness with this one near this area of my face, where I have a little bit of that dry skin feel. So here I do get a little bit of patchiness, and the foundation will not blend away. That's my only issue, and the texture is quite thick as well. I like more liquidy, runny, very easy to blend foundations. The next foundation which I purchased is this one from Beauty Blender. This is the Bounce foundation. So this one I purchased a new shade, and finally this year I have my shade finally. So this one is one of my favorite foundations. I think a lot of people don't really like this foundation. I don't know why, but for my dry skin it did really work out pretty well. The texture is nice. It's not very liquidy, it's not too thick, it's somewhere in the middle. It blends very nicely, especially if you use a beauty blender. The finish is just flawless. It is not a dewy foundation, it's more of a matte foundation. On my skin it gives a natural matte finish, but I love the finish. I love how long wearing it is. Same for this one. This is also very long wearing. This one also very long wearing, without any patchiness or any kind of flakiness. This one, as I mentioned, it gets a little bit patchy around this area of my face, but this one I haven't faced any sort of issue, and the finish is very beautiful. So I've always liked this foundation. This year I found a shade. Earlier I have tried 3 shades, I think. Finally I got the shade 4 Neutral Olive, and this one matches me pretty well. So for this one also I think I have a full review video, if I'm not wrong, or a get ready with me, so I'll leave that video in the description box below. And the last foundation which I purchased this year is definitely, I had to purchase it. I finally purchased it. This is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish foundation, and I got it during one of the sales. This foundation I have been eyeing since last year, since it launched, but it's really expensive. I didn't really want to purchase a foundation for that much, so this year I thought, okay, during a sale I will try this one out. This is beautiful foundation. The packaging is very nice, luxurious packaging. The bottle is very pretty, very beautiful, very luxe, and I have got the shade medium 18. This is also a perfect match for me. Unlike the other two, this is a very liquidy foundation. It goes on the skin super nicely. It has a very light to medium buildable coverage. It's not a heavy duty foundation. It gives a nice skin like finish. Many times I've worn this on my channel, in my videos, so you have seen me wearing this many times, and I really like it. I like the texture of the foundation. It's very lightweight, and for my dry skin it works out pretty well. So like, I don't have major complaints about this foundation, or nothing mind-blowing about it as well, but I really like this foundation. So I'm planning to do a video on this one. I think I haven't done a dedicated video on this foundation, so I will do that soon. Let's move on to concealers. This year I have purchased just 2 concealers. So one is of course the Pat McGrath Labs concealer. Now unlike the foundation where I mentioned that it is very nice, I really like it, but it's not something mind-blowing as well. I don't love this as much as the, I would say, Fenty Beauty hydrating foundation. That one is my love. NARS Soft Matte also I think I love more than this one. But this concealer is my absolute favorite concealer of all time. If I have to choose one concealer for the rest of my life, this is what I will choose. the Pat McGrath Sublime Concealers. So last year I had purchased this shade M18, and that's the shade of my foundation as well. This year I got a shade lighter M15 for underneath the eyes, just because this previous shade M18 is a little too close to my skin tone, so I use it around my mouth area especially to conceal. But this one is for highlighting underneath my eyes. As I mentioned towards the starting of the video, that this year it has been about just concealing and applying some powder. This is what I mostly go for, or the UV concealer, or the new Tarte concealers also, or the Milani concealer. So I have been rotating my concealers and wearing them a lot. This Pat McGrath concealers, but they are just life-changing for me because they give such a beautiful finish. They blend out so easily. They give a very nice coverage, and they look super natural on the skin, but you'll still get a very nice coverage. And they're lightweight. They look really beautiful. So I will highly recommend the Pat McGrath concealers. And the next concealer which I purchased is this one from Rare Beauty. I tried some Rare Beauty products this year, so I tried the concealer as well. This is the shade 380 Warm. I have a full video on this concealer and the Rare Beauty stuff which I had purchased this year, so I will leave that in the description box below if you haven't watched it. This is very similar to the Pat McGrath one I have here. Very nice consistency, blends out well, the coverage is very good, and it's lightweight as well. I like the color match which I have got. 380 Warm matches me really well. I can use it underneath my eyes or around the mouth. So the texture and the consistency, the performance is very long wearing as well. Just the coverage of this one is not like the Pat McGrath one. This one, I don't know how they have done the formulation. The coverage is just beautiful. With this one you have to layer up a bit and cover up, but still it's nice. The texture is nice. I quite liked it. So both the concealer formulas which I've tried this year, they have worked out really well for me. Next I have the powders which I've purchased this year. This year I didn't purchase any drugstore based makeup products because I hardly went to the drugstore. So the powder also is the same thing. I purchased this one, the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Powder Foundation. I love the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter line. I like the primer, the foundation. I haven't tried the concealer though, but I love both the foundations, especially the hydrating one. So I really wanted to try this powder. So this is how the powder looks like. This is 345, which is the perfect match for me in the foundation. So I got the same shade, and this is also a very beautiful powder. This is supposed to be a powder foundation, so you can apply it as a powder foundation. They have a puff here, so when you apply it with the puff you get a little bit more coverage, but I like to use it as just like a powder, and all over face powder when I'm using concealer, and for that it works out pretty well. It gives a nice coverage. It's not like other powders which don't give you anything. This one does have some coverage. I have a full review video on this Fenty Beauty powder. If you're interested, do check that one out. I will leave it in the description box. The last product for today which I have purchased this year is another powder. So powder also I have two. The Pat McGrath Labs under eye powder, if I'm not wrong. What is it called? Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. This is how it looks like. I got the shade yellow. There are a few shades in this line, but I got the shade yellow according to my skin tone for my underneath the eyes. It works great. This one is such a beautiful formula. This is super lightweight. This is how white the powder is, but when you blend out it doesn't like remain that white. It's very lightweight. This one is not as lightweight though. This one is, and this one, they are like different formulas altogether. This one is super lightweight. It feels like you're applying a highlighter. It's just super finely milled, super silky. It has a silky feel to it. Since this powder is super silky, smooth, very finely milled, it gives like a blurring effect under the eyes. It just blurs out everything. It looks absolutely flawless, and it has a slight bit of a glow to it. It's not too much though. It's not like a highlighter kind of a glow or even a subtle glow, but there is something. It's not a flat out matte powder, so that's why I really like it. It looks super beautiful underneath the eyes, and I'm really enjoying it for underneath the eyes. So definitely I would recommend this one as well if you're looking for super fine smooth yellow powder. If you're close to my skin tone, then this is a really nice one. So those are all the base makeup products I have purchased this year. I don't even have a setting spray. I have not purchased a single setting spray this year. This has been a low buy year for me as far as base makeup products are concerned. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you want any further videos on any of these products, I think most of the products I have covered in videos. I'm going to do a Pat McGrath dedicated video for the concealer, the powder and the foundation very soon. And I am looking at some drugstore products, some drugstore base makeup products. So those I will definitely get and review for you next year. So yeah, I think that's it for today's video. I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're watching for the first time, I really hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. More videos are coming in this series, so stay tuned. I will see you again really soon in my next video. Bye.